whenever any part of the body is sick, we are still in the habit of believing and expressing that we are sick. So, we have to establish a communication with ourselves before we can establish a communication with the serpent. That is wise, because it exists in us all these years and we could not find it. Where did it hide itself? We could have suspected its existence had it hid in some portion of what we have. But it is wise enough, it existed as ourselves. That's why we could not find it. That's the reason when we first get a communication with, direct communication with what we call Kundalini, it will be in the form of a light which is ourselves, a light of a million lightnings, because that is our nature. But we are accustomed to see what we have and not what we are. And hence the serpent is concealed as a coiled coil, and always the gurus initiated their disciples into the wisdom of the serpent. That is, to be wise enough to live as yourself, not as you have. What to do for this? We have to withdraw from what we have, not physically but mentally. Not enough if we withdraw mentally only. Suppose if I withdraw myself from the many dollars I am having in my pocket mentally, if the dollars are withdrawn by some pickpocket physically, then I will be not only withdrawn but drawn with the dollars into the pocket of the pickpocket. I prefer not only to lose the dollars but also to lose more valuable thing, that is my mind. There will not be my presence of mind at least for a few days, at least at the cost of 1 day per $1. So, it is not enough if we withdraw only mentally. You should manage with your dollars. You should be careful in spending your dollars meaningfully, but you should not identify yourself with your dollar. Remember always that you are more costly than your dollars, more valuable than your own dollars. And if by chance the dollars are lost, remember you are not lost. Unless you remember this, you will lose yourself whenever you lose dollars. So, those who withdraw themselves from their dollars, those who withdraw themselves from their wives, children and husbands, they are those who can experience what the Christ said, the wisdom of the serpent, or what the Yoga Shastra says, the Kundalini wisdom. Because you should be wise just to skip off from anything that hits you. See how the serpent skips off into the holes when anyone attempts to hit the serpent. If your dollars hit you with theft, the hit should not be received on your head. Otherwise, the serpent's hood will be broken. So, withdraw from everything and everyone. Does that mean that you are to retreat into the forests and live only as one? Not at all. The wife should withdraw from the husband and the husband should withdraw from the wife. Then what for they should marry? The sense of withdrawal is something different from what we understand. What the husband imagines about the wife, he should withdraw. and then both of them live as companions of life. They can enjoy life. They can beget children and they can bring up children. But they should always live withdrawn from children. That is what I told you, not to possess the son. The son should be offered to God up to the point of cutting the son into two pieces, just like the story in the Old Testament. A similar withdrawal not only from the son but also from the wife and the husband should be there. A similar withdrawal from your dollars. And more difficult is a similar withdrawal from your ideals. That is the most difficult part of it. When we are to go against our ideals for the sake of saving the life of some person, we have to weigh between the two. Wait. Are we to keep up our ideals or to save the life? There are some noble souls who keep up their ideals instead of saving lives. Those are the souls that are not required by the Christ. Because what the Christ wanted was, be ye wise as the serpents. If you can withdraw from your ideal also, you can withdraw and try to help. If you have something which is more valuable than myself, you can't follow me and come with me. That is what he said. So, if you begin to meditate upon this symbol of the serpent, you will know what the wisdom is. It is the capacity to withdraw, and it is the capacity to live within yourself, and also the capacity to leave off many layers after layers of your skin. Because many of the types of serpents are in the habit of leaving off their layers month after month. So, in your mind and habits and ideals and thoughts, you should be able to leave off every time one layer of imperfection, when the next and better layer is ready waiting for you. And you should know how to make a tapering of things and situations. Gradual tapering. That is, you should know when to do and when to stop, what to do and what not to do. So, nothing stable or nothing decided you should have in your mind as your program. You should know how to live in the present, leaving the planning for a higher intelligence and responding in the form of your own duty to the present. This is the symbolism of the serpent that is used in the many scriptures. And there is the other counterpart of serpent called the bird. The two symbols are used as twin symbols in many of the world scriptures. That is, the symbol of the serpent and the symbol of the bird. Both of them are described as egg-born beings. It was narrated in the form of a beautiful story that the vault of heavens had two wives. Vault of heavens had two wives, the east and the west. That is, Madam East and Madam West. And both of them meditated for the grosser presence of their husband for 10,000 years. And after some time, the husband appeared before them. It is described in the following way in one of the scriptures. Here is Monsieur, the vault of heavens. He is shining as the eye of the heavens, shedding down his presence upon the beings on the lower kingdoms. And the two ladies, east and west, were his wives, and both of them meditated for the presence of the husband on lower and grosser planes. And the fellow appeared before them and asked, "What do you want?" They said, "We want children as your images." It is a symbolic story. And the husband gave two alternatives. "I will give you children through eggs. First you will lay eggs, and then from within the eggs the children come out. But tell me, do you want two children that travel upwards, or 1,000 children that travel downwards? And the two children that shine by themselves, or the 1,000 children that conceal the brilliance within themselves?" Then Madam East asked for the two children, and Madam West said, "Let there be 1,000 children, because if some children die, some people will survive." He said, "Yes, I will be born in the form of the two children for you and the 1,000 children for you." Then he disappeared, and afterwards both of them were just walking on the shores of the great ocean of the existence of the universe. And both of them were daily seeing a horse white as milk, that which we call the day. And both of them were discussing about the whiteness of the horse. Madam West says every day, "The horse is white, but the tail is black." And Madam East says, "That is not correct. The whole horse, including the tail, is white." And in the meanwhile, they became pregnant and they gave out eggs. The Madam East has given 2 eggs, and West 3 eggs and number 1. That is 1,000 eggs. It is a symbol, because 0 is a symbol of space, 1 is the symbol of the content of space that awakens as creation. If you go through the first chapters of the Secret Doctrine of Madame Blavatsky, or some select pages from the Treatise on Cosmic Fire by the Tibetan master, about whom many Occidents talk too much today, if you happen to peep through some pages, you will know what the circle is, what 0 is and what 1 is. So, once again, please go through the opening pages of the Secret Doctrine of Blavatsky, and also wherever the word egg and the egg-born are referred in the Cosmic Fire. And the 2 wives, they were waiting for their eggs to be hatched into children, and all the 1,000 eggs became children. They came out for the West, and but the 2 eggs were still there. The children did not come out, and the mother was too much vexed. See, all the Occidents came out first, and the Orients, they are still sleeping. And the mother grew jealous of the 2 of of the other wife of her husband, and she broke one egg open to see if the son is prepared. Then a wonderful fellow came out in the form of a great bird of fire, and he had only the upper half of his body prepared, whereas the lower half is not yet prepared. And he told to his mother like this: "It is jealousy that made you do so. I am not the loser, because I am fire incarnate and I come down to earth whenever anyone wants. But you are the loser, because my lower half is not developed. You have to pay for it. You have to pay for your jealousy. I am going on my duty as the chariot driver of the sun god at sunrise. I need not stir out, I can sit in the chariot and drive it. And though I do not have the lower body, I can do this business. But for you, there is a great trouble awaiting. You have to be a slave of the other wife of your husband, and it is only the fellow who is existing in the other egg that can bring you out into liberation from slavery. Unless you protect the egg for 10,000 years more, unless you allow the fellow to develop for himself, he will not be in a position to liberate you. So, have this as a repayment or a penalty for your jealousy. That is what he said. And the next day, the two wives again saw the white horse. Again they had a discussion, and Madam West said that the tail was black, and Madam East said, no, it is white. And Madam West said, let us bet, and if the tail is black, I will be your slave lifelong. If the tail were to be white, you be my slave lifelong. They accepted, and it was sunset. And she said, let us examine tomorrow morning. In the night, Madam West requested her children to become black and hang in the hairs of the tail of the horse. Some of them refused because it was unjust, and the mother cursed the refused fellows to die. And for fear of the curse, the others obeyed the mother's request. They stood as black hairs on the tail of the horse. Next morning, both the ladies went and examined, and the tail was black. So, Madam East had to accept slavery under Madam West forever. She remembered the words of her first son. She protected the second egg carefully, and another great bird came out of that after 10,000 years. And he liberated his mother from slavery. And this is one of the stories about the serpents and the eagles. Of course, it has many significances about it, but for the present, let us be concerned with the symbolism of the serpent and the eagle. The serpents indicate the consciousnesses that go into the chasms of the lower kingdoms, because they are the symbols of the setting sun when shadows exist in chasms. Similarly, life tries to exist in some subsistence that is upon something grass. So that the indweller, who is this most subtle, should have a vehicle. Life begins to make a vehicle for the indweller. In its process of preparing the vehicles, it prepares many layers after layers, just as the serpent prepares its own layers of skin. And whenever the indweller is made to live in a body, he is encaged. That is, God encaged becomes a living being. That is the omnipresent consciousness. When it is bound by limitation, it is called creation. The omnipresent, yes, the unlimited God consciousness or the omnipresence unbound can become a living being only when it is having a limitation of a vehicle. Hence, every time it loses itself into the existence of the living beings, and the living beings should lose themselves into the existence of the omnipresence. Until then, the living beings enact the drama of misery, because they accept their existence separate from the existence of the total, and this is one of the forms of the primordial illusions that are necessitated by nature. Unless something is separated from the total, it cannot be a piece of creation. And when something is separated from the total, it cannot experience the total. So, it has to experience only a protracted or refracted experience, and it should enjoy the total only and as something different from itself. So, a living being is bound to feel that it is different from others. Though the one thing exists in all of us, I see someone different from me in you. Otherwise, I cannot see you. If I want to talk to you, I should see you different from myself. That is the primordial illusion that is enforced upon living beings by nature. This primordial illusion is called the black hole that is spiraled, or it is called the serpent. This is one of the symbolisms of the serpent in the scriptures. It is called the chasm into which you will lose yourself. That is, you forget that you are omnipresent, only to remember that you are a separate being, an individual away from others. To forget what is common in you and others, and to remember what is distinguished in you, in what way you are different from others. This is called the black spiral, or the spiral of darkness, that becomes inevitable whenever a living being comes into existence. And this living being has to travel a long way up this spiral to come to light once again. And when he comes to the halfway, he lifts himself up into light. And when half of the circle is covered by him, he comes to a point which is symbolically called east, and he receives the light of the dawn. That is one of the symbolisms given to the serpent. And from that point onwards, the serpent begins to develop wings, not in the physical sense, but in the symbolic sense. That means hitherto it had to live with matter as subsistence, with the darkness that filled the deep as its own subsistence. Do you remember the first few lines in the book of Genesis? In the beginning, when God did not propose this creation, what was there? You remember the Guru asked the disciple. The answer is there in the first few lines of the Genesis. Darkness filled the deep. And then God said, let there be light. And there is light. What is the meaning of these words? Is it a fairy tale? Or a story of grandmother narrating to a little grandchild? There is something more. Life always sleeps in matter, and that is the darkness of the deep. What we call the mineral kingdom contains mineral atoms of the various ranges of minerals in this earth. In each atom there is the ion existing in it, but it is in a sleeping condition. That does not mean that the indweller is sleeping, because if the indweller sleeps, there is no one to see that our heart beats when we sleep, or our lungs respire when we sleep. The indweller has another fellow on the surface about whom we talked this morning. That fellow sleeps in a very mineral atom. The objective consciousness sleeps in it. And when the mineral kingdom undergoes the evolution to reach the plant kingdom, then it dreams, it begins to live in dream consciousness. And when the evolution takes place into the animal kingdom, life awakens into a living being, and when it completes the evolution of the animal kingdom and enters the human kingdom, then it is to realize its own existence and feel the existence of the indweller of all, whom the human being calls I am, in his purest sense. So, this is the goal of the human kingdom. To experience sleep-like state is the state of mineral kingdom. From that state, the atoms evolve into the dream state called the plant kingdom, then into the animal kingdom, that is the awakening state, where they awaken towards the existence of other things, not to themselves. When the evolution touches the human kingdom, then these beings get awakened towards their own existence. The human being begins to feel that he is existing, others are also existing, but he should complete the circle to realize who I am and realize the same I am in everyone. So, this entering into the human kingdom is called the serpent crawling up to the step where it reaches the light. If the lower half represents what we call darkness, and the upper half represents the light. For example, in our day, we see the upper half bright and our lower half beneath our legs as dark. That is, when we stand on this earth, during the daytime the upper half is light and the opposite side half of the earth is in darkness or night. Similarly, the cycle or the spiral of evolution is half dark and half light. The scriptures teaches that the I am consciousness is at its highest point of illumination when the human being reaches the highest point of his evolution. But when he just crosses the animal kingdom and enters into the human kingdom, it is what is called the dawn or the east of the light of I am to him. So, until then he lives as a serpent or the spiral filled with darkness. Since then the head of the serpent begins to turn white, and gradually it becomes whiter and whiter until it reaches the highest point of illumination when man reaches the goal of his life. That is, he experiences the one existence in everyone. That part of the journey from entering into the human kingdom up to the realization of the God's kingdom is called the wisdom of the winged serpent. And the whole story is said to have painted, unfortunately the pen is not useful and the board is also not useful. I will explain to you. The whole story is said to have painted upon a vertical rod that runs from the highest point of illumination to the darkest point. For example, here is, imagine yourself standing on this earth. When the sun rises, you will receive the first rays. When the sun travels to mid heavens, you will receive the maximum rays. And gradually when the sun sets in the west, you will lose the rays. And when the sun comes to the midnight point,